Hi guys, so this video is me going to be going through the exam questions that you did for the themes paper, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and I know your exams are sort of wrapping up, so I don't do anything that was going to distract people from their actual exams. Oh, sorry, the dog's under the table, tickling my knees. Hey, your dog, you're alright. But I just thought I'd give my sort of like thoughts on them, and I just sort of miss building my church, and I wanted to go back to it, which is really sad to say. So I'm going to find out some way of finishing it, maybe doing some more specific things and put them. Someone at work told me about a playlist. I can make a playlist of videos so it's not so confusing. And look, one of my bits of copper is starting to turn green. So this isn't straight away where I left off last time. I have been doing something on my church. I've been slowly going and getting more copper, and I've built a lot more furnaces. I've been sort of like getting a lot of like those copper blocks. I can build my roof. Look, lots of ingots being made. But I want to go through the exam paper, so and talk about how I felt about it. I thought the themes paper overall was pretty mean. Oh, I've forgotten how to do everything in this. How do I build my signs? And so I'm just going to go through and sort of like give each paper like what I consider like a meanness score. I think is probably the best way of saying it. Not each paper, each theme, a meanness score. I will try and talk about theme C and theme F, which I don't teach. Oh yeah, I've got carrots now. I've been farming carrots quite effectively. Oh, stupid thing, around the back of my base. So while I sort of make things, I will talk about the different questions. So theme A, I loved. Theme A I thought was great. And this was by far my favourite theme. So if you can hear squeaking, it's because the dog's found a toy. Oh no. Oh. So theme A, I loved it, okay? You've got the question on procreation as the first one. I don't know why I put those two signs there. I thought that was an easy one for the first one. Also, I think procreation can be a bit of a pickly topic, so to have it as a 1 mark question, I was quite pleased. I was like, oh cool, that question is sort of out of the way. There's no, oh no, what did I do there? Put the coal back in there. There's no more questions about procreation to sort of worry about, so that's fine. The 2 mark question, oh, I'm really struggling with this today. Oh, there we go, do that. And now the dog's having a big old scratch. You alright, dog? Where is it? Do you want to come here and say hello to people? Yeah? Oh, the dog's here. Hello, dog. I thought the 2 marker was good as well. So what was that one? Oh yeah, give 2 teachings about the role of parents in a religious family. I thought that was fine. I couldn't really argue about that. If I met the examiner, I'd be like, yeah, that question, absolutely fine. 4 marker was the first one where I started to get a bit annoyed. There was a little bit of phrasing of it that I didn't like. So, explain 2 contrasting religious beliefs in contemporary British society about contraception. Don't mind a contraception question, okay? Contraception question I can't argue with at all. Sometimes you need a contraception question, that's absolutely fine, and we've gone over that. I didn't like this line that was on all the 4 markers. In your answer, you must refer to the main religious tradition of Great Britain and 1 or more other religious traditions. I know that can come up, but I don't know, the phrasing being different this year, after you lot have been like told, oh, this is going to be on it, this isn't going to be on it, I thought it was very mean to phrase a question sort of differently than they had done before. Hey, rabbit, you're alright. Love you. So I thought that was a bit mean, but actually the question, 4 marks on contraception, I'll take that absolutely any day of the week. Oh man, it really is snowing, isn't it? I love the fact that my roof is like oxidising. That's so cool. Well, look, that one's going as well. Ah, that's so cool. So I just went outside to plant that tree. So I didn't mind the 4 marker on that one as well. And I'm just going through the mark scheme at the moment. The mark scheme, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give people the idea that I have any sort of like, I'm not marking for the exam board this year. I only got 22 from all that. Oh my lord, that's not many. But the mark scheme is the mark scheme, and people, we'll have to wait till August so we know exactly how people come out from it. 5 marker to explain 2 religious beliefs about same-sex marriage. Don't mind that as a question at all. I quite like that one. Is there nothing in there? Oh, I didn't realise that's something. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of this. Let's make more blocks. So, money. Yes, right. Didn't mind that one as well. So far, theme A, lovely. And then the 12 marker, which everyone always panics about the 12 marker. Religious believers should never divorce. Didn't I predict that? Didn't I predict that? See, I knew that was coming. I'm a genius beyond compare. Okay. Religious believers should never divorce was a question I predicted. Religious believers should never divorce was a question we got on. Getting to night time, so I'm actually going to go and sleep over the house. So, see, and this is where the gremlins turn up. My life is made worse, and I don't know why you're there. I'm fairly certain if I hit someone with a big copper block in the face, it would hurt them more than some of the weapons I have. Like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I did die. So I thought theme A overall was fine. As a score, I'd probably give that like a 9 out of 10 as a section. I was really pleased. They couldn't have really phrased it any better, in my opinion. I didn't get annoyed at it. So the way teachers normally hear about the questions is, and I don't know about other people's schools, the way I've always done it, is our exam board don't really let us in the. Examiners don't really let us in the room at the time. Our invigilators, so we'll have to wait until when you lot have finished, and then we hear firstly from you guys coming out and telling us what the questions are. And so people seem very positive on theme A. I was very positive on theme A. So overall, that felt like a good thing. What's that blue stuff? Oh yeah, I found it in a cave. Lapis lazuli. I don't know much about it. I know it's a real thing, but that's about all I know. So theme A, I need to go and get those signs. Oh, so much snow everywhere. Ow. Ow. Where are my signs? Yes. Theme A, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. And I think that's fair. I mean, look, I don't love to praise an exam board when they don't deserve it, but on this occasion, I think they deserve it. Theme A, I'm going to give 9 out of 10. I think that was a good section. Loved it, in fact. I was really pleased. So I heard that one, people coming out, and I was like, yes. Like that a lot. Now, theme B, I've got different opinions on. So, which of the following terms explains how different species have changed and developed? Don't mind that as a 1 marker. Evolution, nice and easy, get it off the path. This 2 marker I thought was a piglet. Not a fan. Give 2 reasons why many people experience awe and wonder when they look at the natural world. I mean, I just thought the phrasing of it was so clunky. I didn't know why it couldn't be like explain 2 religious beliefs about awe and wonder. I don't know why it had to be why many people experience awe and wonder when they look at the natural world. I mean, that's so. It's just got so many extra words in it. I don't think they needed. I don't know if they were. I always try and give the examiners the benefit of the doubt because I don't think any examiner is genuinely trying to make the exam mean for you. And I wonder sometimes if it's because there's so many of them sitting in a room for so long, they overthink these things maybe and they get into conversations and they try almost too hard to make it understandable. But that question reads just too complicated for me. I don't think it's that hard really when you get down to it. Oh, the world is so amazing that, you know, like who else could have created it by God and stuff like that. But I just think the phrasing of it doesn't make your life easier, it makes your life harder. The last thing I think you need when you're doing an exam is something that's going to pause you and make you stop and think and go, hang on a minute, what? I think they just need to answer the question in a way that you're going to recognise it quickly. The 4 marker, explain 2 similar religious beliefs in contemporary society that are used to oppose animal experimentation. I mean, and once again, I know they have to do their similar and their contrasting ones. I just think that's a little bit mean to give you 2 similar beliefs in contemporary society that are used to oppose animal experimentation. I think they're really narrowing down what you've got to say, and you've got to read that question so carefully to make sure you're saying the right things. I just wish the question could have been, give 2 religious beliefs about animal experimentation. I mean, I know that might be too easy for the example, but I don't know, that just seemed more logical to me. And in contemporary British society that are used to oppose animal experimentation, I don't know, it seems to make it purposefully more difficult. But once again, I don't think the question itself is that bad. I just wonder sometimes why the phrasing has to be so complicated. I'm sure there's an exam board reason. The 5 marker, explain 2 reasons why many religious people protect the environment. Is it daytime yet? No. Can I go to sleep yet? Oh yes, I can. 2 religious people why people protect the environment, which is fine, but there's been a lot of environment questions so far in that for me, which is fine, but it does seem a lot on the same topics, and I don't love it when they do that, because if I was doing that exam, I'd start to double think myself and be like, why are all these questions on the same topic? I'm just repeating myself again and again because you've had stewardship. You could have mentioned stewardship almost 3 times. There's ways of getting stewardship into the awe and wonder question. There's definitely ways of putting into the animal question. I guess it's oppose animal testing. And there's ways of getting it into protect the environment question. So it just seems that you'd be repeating the same points again and again. And I don't know, I think it makes your life more difficult. And the 12 marker, I'm sure, I hope your teachers have been moaning about this as much as we have at ours. And once again, I'm going to try and give the exam board some benefit of the doubt. My game is chugging slowly today. I don't know what's up with it. I must have something running in the background. People who value and protect human life will be rewarded in the afterlife. So I predicted this would be a question about euthanasia. And you could have written about euthanasia on this, but I'm not taking any credit for that as partial credit of me being like, I was right. Because that's really a question about the afterlife. People who value and protect human life will be rewarded in the afterlife. But you could talk about abortion, you could talk about euthanasia, you could just talk about the afterlife and, how we should treat each other well and with respect and stuff like that. And a little bit of me wonders if what the exam board are... why did I do that? Because that's actually the way I'm going to get up and down, isn't it? So that was silly. What the exam board are doing, maybe, is trying to give you a nice open question so you can say lots of different sort of answers on it. And almost what they've accidentally done is just made it a much more confusing question. I don't know. I'm trying to give them maybe some benefit of the doubt and be like, why have you phrased this like this? Because I can't really understand why you'd phrase it like that. I think what every teacher wanted to see at this point, and what hopefully most of you want, or I expect most of you wanted to see, was a question that said something along the lines of, explain to religious, abortion is always wrong. You'd be like, brilliant, the abortion question's here. This is exactly what I wanted. Have I got that right? No. That should be on 1, and that one's not. It's on 2. Oh, I made a mistake. What a mistake as a maker. Maybe it doesn't go all the way up to 2 in the middle. That would make some sense. I'm not very good at architecture. So I think that's a really mean question. I didn't like that as a 12-mark question, so I'm not really looking at the camera. I didn't think that was a very nice 12-mark question. I thought it was a bit cruel. So I've got these on my phone here, so I'm just going through them as I look. So if I keep looking away, that's why. There's easy answers for it, and once again, you can talk about abortion, you can talk about euthanasia, but the idea, you're just going to talk about heaven, really. That's your main thing, is going to be focused on the afterlife. And it's a bit of an odd one, because whenever... I'm so stupid. Whenever I teach this one, I always think about this module, and my students think about this one as the medical ethics one, that they're going to talk about abortion and euthanasia. That's how they remember it. They're the 2 big topics that are going to come up, abortion and euthanasia. Okay, I'll leave that as a little door for now, so I can get up here. But I think overall that's going to look pretty good when all the snow settles on it. And then we'll just build a little rail along here. And then really, in some ways, there's no question on abortion and euthanasia on the exam scheme, is there? I know that seems daft, but there's not a question that directly talks about them. You could answer that whole section without talking about abortion and euthanasia. And that's frustrating, because I'm sure all of you revised... I broke one of my carrots. Fell off here and I've broken me carrots. Where's my hoe? There. Do that, and then I just plant the whole carrot in the ground. Which I know about carrots in real life, because I'm growing carrots with my son at the moment, because he likes gardening. If you can see in the back, I don't know how much you can see in the background, but we're planting and growing lots of stuff, because he read a book about sunflowers. And he's very excited now to learn about growing. I'm quite enjoying it as well, because he's 2, and watching a sunflower grow is fun with a 2-year-old. He's excited every day when he sees it, even though it hasn't changed normally, but he's still excited. So I did think that was a mean one. So actually, I'm going to go to the house and do it there. I'm totally not giving theme B a 9 out of 10. That said, I didn't think the 4 marker was that mean. The 5 marker wasn't that mean, but they were all talking about the environment. The 2 marker I did think was a bit mean, awe and wonder, but if awe and wonder's coming up, I'd rather it came up for 2 marks. There's a ghost in the machine. I'll have to work out why it's going so slow another time. So theme B, that 12 marker really annoys me. I'm giving that a 4 out of 10. I really don't like that 12 marker. I think that's a very mean question. I don't like the way it's phrased, the way it's so open, and yet if I was doing that in the exam, I would just have to stop for a couple of minutes and be reading it again and again, being like, what the hell is this question trying to ask me? Because you're in a high pressure situation. I think what you want to see is just the exam question be like, I know what I'm saying now. And to give the exam board like the benefit of the doubt as I'm trying to, which is maybe I shouldn't, but I wonder if what they've tried to do is put a question where you could answer that question about abortion, you can answer that question about euthanasia, you could answer that question about afterlife, and you can still get lots of marks for it. And I wonder if part of their discussions was, we want questions that no matter how much time a student has missed at school, hopefully they can still approach it. And in trying to make the question really open, I worry they've made it so open that it's really difficult to start and get to grips with. I don't know that's what they've done, because obviously I'm not an examiner, but that would be the guess. Now, theme C, which the following is not used as an argument against the existence of God. I thought that was pretty good. That was just C. First cause argument, because that's in favour of the existence of God. For Christ's sake, there's an extra sign there. We have stuff to do. We've got a roof to make. Close the door. Alright. Oh man. Right. I'm going to have to work out why. See, I've changed over from playing on my PC to playing on a laptop, and clearly the laptop is not handling this at its best. But we will have to make some changes in the future, it looks like. Give two strengths to the design argument for the existence of God. If you have taught theme C, I don't think that's the hardest question to ever have come up. And I'd be, not disappointed in a teacher who hadn't taught that, because obviously that's massively unfair. So I've got very good at putting all this stuff in the fires now. Oh, you've run out of coal. I don't have any more coal. You've run out of coal. Okay, you've run out of both coal and copper. You've got 1 bit of coal left. I might as well leave that in there. 1 bit of coal's not make a difference. You've got 8 bits of coal left, so I can go and put that in one of the other things. And you've run out of coal, so I might as well put the coal in that one. Right, let's put away cobbled deep slate. See, I don't even know where I picked that up from. I dug one really big hole to get all this copper out. I dug one really big pit and just started clambering it all out. So I found all these different types of rock, and then I've got some iron as well when I was down there. But I don't really know what to do. As you can all tell by how competent I am very good at this. So let's pick up more of these copper ingots. I did so much. There's some more of my blocks. So that theme C one I don't think is too bad. I'd expect a teacher to have taught that really well. Explain two similar contemporary society about miracles. The mark scheme's very generous on that as far as I can read it. I'm not marking for the examiners, but if what is written on the mark scheme is accurate, then it looks like a relatively generous, not generous, but they're accepting a wide range of answers, which I think is fair, because there's a wide range of things you could say on that. So, not the hardest question there. I don't think that's too bad. Miracles I'd expect to come up at some point. Explain two religious beliefs about the immanence of God. Once again, I don't teach theme C, but that seems for 5 marks to be a bit of a stinker. I don't know, maybe it's not. Maybe teachers have prepped their classes with that one. But it just spoke to me as a question that would stink slightly. And the 12 marker for the theme C. General revelation is not an important source of knowledge about God. Once again, I don't teach theme C, and maybe there'll be a teacher at a Christian school that'll be like, no, that's the question that we prepped. But I haven't heard anyone saying they love that question. That does seem like a bit of a stinker. So I'm not going to give that one a score, but I don't know, that seems like a stinky section to me. Oh no, I want that to be higher, don't I? How can I do this? Oh yeah, just make this one go all the way to the end. Well, I'm going to have to do the full sort of thing of this, aren't I? Because otherwise it won't look right from behind. So theme C, if I had to give a score to, I'd give it like a 6, because I just don't know enough about it to be too specific. It wouldn't make me happy, but once again, there's a teacher at a religious school who might be like, that's a great section, I really wanted it to be like that. Religion, peace and conflict. Which of the following describes unlawful use of violence against civilians? That would be terrorism, so that would be, I hope that was pretty obvious to people. Give 2 ways victims of war are helped by religious organisations. I didn't think that was too bad. As long as people read it correctly, and 2 ways they're helped by religious organisations, and as long as the exam board are open-minded with that, there's a lot of things that you could say for that one. I hope they're very open-minded and think just logical answers would be correct for me. Then the 4 marker, explain 2 contrasting religious beliefs in contemporary society about violence. And this is another one where I wonder if the exam board have been, for my money, a bit open-ended with the meaning of that question there. Like, that question to me reads as just about violence in general. I don't know. I know we talked about violence when I did some of my revision videos. It just seems so open-ended that, once again, obviously I can do these questions, I teach it for a living, but I think even I would pause for a second to be like, oh, right, okay, just violence on its own. And be like, right, because I was expecting a question about war or conflict, and I'm like, well, can I just talk about war and conflicts? And maybe I'd pause for a second and be like, oh no, they want me to talk about violence specifically. What does that mean? And obviously I know what the word violence means, but I can see how someone would pause that question and be like, I don't know exactly what I meant to write here. And that's always a time when I'm like, well, is that the best way that could have been phrased? Especially with some of the other topics that don't come up, I wonder if that's one that needed to be in there. Explain 2 religious beliefs about justice. I didn't hate that. I thought that was fine about justice. That I didn't mind at all. And being prepared to fight a war is the best way to keep the peace. I've got to stop falling off things. So being prepared to fight in a war is the best way to keep the peace. I mean, look, could they phrase that question in a way that I would find kinder? Yeah, of course. Like, if they just said, there is never a reason to fight in a war, I think that would have been slightly kinder. But I don't hate the way they phrase that. And it gives you a chance to talk about jihad and holy war and just war and all those things. So, and maybe I'm giving the exam board too much credit. I don't think that's a particularly mean section. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think the violence question is a little bit mean, but the justice question seems fine. I know there's no specific mention of like holy war or just war in there, but the questions that you talk about it. So I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10, and maybe I'm being a little bit too nice. Because I'm sure some people thought that was a bit of a smelly section. To the person, I can't remember who it was, someone described the exam as schmelly in a comment afterwards, and I have been using that word around the office to describe the exam, and that has become sort of one of my terms du jour. So whoever used that, I can't remember their name, I do apologise. That has become part of my lexicon now. I like it. Schmelly. There were a few schmelly questions, I agree. Which of the following is not a reason for crime? Addiction, greed, poverty, reformation. I don't think that's a difficult question, and I think they've been quite generous giving you reformation in there as one of the possible answers, so I'd hope you'd all get that one. I thought the 1 markers were relatively fine this year. They normally are. They're not normally too bad than those ones. Give 2 reasons why many religious people support the use of prison as a punishment. I didn't mind that as a 2 marker. The problem is whenever they put religious beliefs in there, I worry people are going to go for overly religious arguments, and that one I would just focus on 2 reasons why people would think prison is a good thing, because religious people are people, so they're going to probably agree with that. So you're going to say stuff like it's a deterrent, it keeps people safe and stuff like that. So you would have just said those same things. I don't want it as a 2 marker because at least you haven't got to go into religious arguments in favour of prison, which is more complicated because they're not as clear. Explain 2 similar beliefs in contemporary British society about the importance of forgiveness. I didn't mind that again. The contemporary British society bit is the only bit that will throw me off, so I'm not going to destroy them for that, but as long as you started talking about like everyone deserves a second chance, and then you can just go Bible, forgive, 70 times 70, forgiven you'll be forgiven, all that. I didn't hate that. The golden rule, treat other people as you wish to be treated, all that. So I didn't hate that one. Give 2 religious views about the crime of murder. Now actually, the more I think about this question, the less I like it, because I wonder if it's so obvious what you're going to say as your first point. I worry how many of you might have got stuck on that one and been like, well, I've done thou shalt not kill now, what the hell am I going to say next? And, you know, I wonder if a lot of people just stopped there and didn't go for another one, which was like sanctity of life, only God can take life, and stuff like that. I hope all of you realise that that's logically what you can say as well, but I wonder if people didn't because, or wouldn't have done because they were like, well, I've already made that point that it's wrong. Because it just says explain two religious views about the crime murder. It doesn't say too similar or too contrasting. So I hope people didn't read it and were like, well, now I've got to do an argument in favour of murder? What's the argument in favour of murder? So I'm hoping no one read it like that. But I wonder that's the only thing that would worry me in that question. Or you could obviously do two religious arguments in that one and be like, oh, on one hand, you know, Christians say this and Muslims say this about it, but they're both going to be saying it's wrong, and you basically have the same ideas. So there's always that fear that you worry that you're repeating yourself, but I hope you wouldn't do that one. And religious people should always obey the law. I do think that's a bit of a schmelly question to steal from whoever that person was. I mean, it's not an impossible question by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think there's... I don't know, it depends how your teacher prepped you for it. Maybe it's just me thinking, did I prep my class well enough for that question? And maybe I didn't, and I'm frustrated at myself. But I just think there's probably easier questions they could have asked about that. And by easy, I don't know, maybe not fairer, but that one just threw me and I was like, oh, I wish that question hadn't come up in that phrasing. So, yeah, I'd mark that one's a bit of a slightly smellier one. And I'll probably go for theme E. I'm going to give that a 6. I didn't love it. I'm going to have a look at theme F. I haven't really looked at theme F very much because I don't teach theme F. So is it daytime yet? No, it's not yet. Did I sleep yet? No, there's monsters nearby. Okay. So I have oh yeah, I haven't got my hat on. I've got 27 more of those still. No, he's round there. There's one round there. Oh, I might just I might just go back to the big church. I should build a bed in the big church, because then if I put it in the middle of the big church, then it'll always be far away from the monsters. That makes much more sense. Having the bed here, I can put it right in the middle for now while I'm building it, and then I'd always be fine. I wish I'd thought of that before. Right, so all these have stopped working now. Oh, there's 64 in there. Next, oh, there's 34 bits of that. That's excellent. I might just come over and start building again. So, theme F. Which of the following is an action that is belief in human rights support, exploiting the poor, action that believe in human rights support, exploiting the poor, people trafficking, racial prejudice, respecting others. I mean, I hope you'd all get that. I mean, I hope you'd all quite stupid, and I'm thinking about a copper roofing building, but I hope you'd all get that. Respecting others is a good thing, and the other three are bad things. Give two religious beliefs about responsibility being wealthy. I did used to teach this module, so it's the one I'm more familiar with than theme C. That is one that I would definitely have prepped my classes for a question. I would probably prep that for a 4 or 5 marker, so it being a 2 marker wouldn't have been too shocking for me. And I hope my classes would have been prepped for that one. Oh no, I didn't know you were going to come up here. You absolute jerk. Well, that's a pickle. I didn't know they could climb upstairs and come and get me in the roof. I don't like that situation at all. Right. Well, that's frustrating. The 4 marker there, explain 2 similar religious attitudes in contemporary society about the freedom of religious expression. I don't think I do like that question very much. I wouldn't be over the moon to see that one turn up there. Explain 2 similar religious attitudes in contemporary society about the freedom of religious expression. So I'm going to say, I mean, it's not impossible by any stretch. It just, once again, it's a bit clunky, and I'd be like, oh, that seems, with all the things that can come up in there about equality and stuff like that, I'd be a bit like, oh, that's one I wouldn't have loved to see as a 4 marker if I was teaching that one. Explain 2 reasons why social justice is important. Not a bad question for a 5 marker. Lots of nice quotes. I think you can use that one, so I won't use that one. Giving money to charity is the best way of helping the poor. Yeah, I don't mind that one. I don't love it. I wish it was phrased in a slightly different way, because I worry that's really going to narrow someone down in what they're saying about sort of helping the poor. But it's certainly not a terrible question. I'd be like fuming. So overall, though the exam was slightly schmelly, the more I go over it, the more I'm like, oh, it should be fine. You should all do fine. I hope you've done fine. I mean, not all of you will have done, because some people will struggle. It's an exam, and it's a real thing where I didn't actually make the blocks, and now I've put myself inside. That was silly of me. But I hope you've all done all right, and I hope my videos helped in some way for you to do all right. I think. Oh no. It's like when you come home and your neighbour's waiting outside your front door and you're not sure why they want to talk to you. Go away. I mean, or someone's there to talk to you about religion and you don't really want to chat about religion. That's always an awkward one as well. Apart from if you're me and you love it. I am a very sad person, and I really like it when there's religious believers at my door to talk to me about religion, because it gives me an excuse to talk about religion with people. Most people don't want to talk to me about religion or anything else at all. So that's fine. I think I will try and finish this church over time. My plans for it are obviously build the big roof, and then you've got to I might try and finish the wall with all signs to sort of make it all match, because that looks a bit scruffy at the moment. And then you'd need to sort of build wings off it here and here, because a traditional church should be cross-shaped. And then a font here, or a pool with some water in. I can get the water from out there. And I worked out, I have a bucket somewhere. And then my plan is, polar bear. Hello, polar bear. My plan is long term, and this would be the final sort of thing. Hey, bear. Mwah! Always kiss a bear if you see a bear. Weird. Would be to try and get the villagers from up here down into the church. So, I mean, it won't be revision for any GCSEs, I suppose, because you've done the exam now, a lot of you, and I know some of you won't do that, but this is probably just going to be a sad old man building a church. So what I might do to make myself give it some sort of purpose is I might pick Bible stories and sort of go through those, even though I'm not religious, so I just like Bible stories. I think they're interesting, and sort of going maybe deeper. That does look very impressive, the front of my church now. I'm gonna have to work out a way of doing stained glass windows at some point. Oh no, there's a block of my church missing there. Well, how do I replace that? Oh, dog, you're all right. So yeah, long term, I will try and finish all things like the roof and stuff like that. But I just wanted to go through the exam today, and I will try and come on every sort of maybe once a week and build some more of this church. So if you have any questions about RE and you want me to go over some famous Bible bits, I mean, you can. That's a very strange thing to ask, but some of you might be interested in religious things you want me to go over. If not, I'm just going to slowly build a church, which is a journey down the road to insanity I didn't think I was on. I mean, anyone who comes across this who doesn't know that I'm an RE teacher is going to think I've just lost my mind, but maybe I have. But I do kind of like this now. I mean, I think it's just becoming quite impressive. I could pull the signs down off the side and put them inside, because I don't like them on the side anymore. And I could put my little extensions on there and there. I'll teach you all my little carrot farm behind the church. All those carrots are grown. Oh, have they grown? Yeah. I've really worked out carrot farming. I'm a good carrot farmer. That carrots needs to be replanted over there. See, this is giving me my holy water. This is like my little shrine. I am losing my marbles. I shouldn't have a shrine. It's a computer game. But this is becoming a place of pilgrimage. I mean, if St. Bernadette can find her holy water, I think maybe I found mine. Coming out of this rock. Look, St. Bernadette saw the Virgin Mary and she thought it was a miracle. We've got water appearing just from a random rock. Surely that is as big a miracle as anything that's ever happened. Just water gushing and running. And look, it's all flowing in there, and yet it never overflows. What greater miracle could there be than that, this unlimited supply of water? Alright, well, I'm going to stop doing this now because otherwise I'm going to start rambling to myself in a way that could be considered slightly insane, but I will try and check in about once a week and build more of this church until I eventually finish it, or I find something better to do with my life, which is unlikely. Alright, hope you enjoyed the exam that happened. I'm sure most of you didn't.